Shout out to Beverly Pierce for sending me this story, and it is coming out of Nebraska, where you have this man whose name is Daniel Stueck, and he's 41 years of age, and he was just arrested for chasing down a black woman while holding a chainsaw. He must have thought he was Leatherface and that he was in Texas. A chainsaw, y'all. A freaking chainsaw. It didn't say whether the chainsaw was on or not. It just said he was chasing her with one. But let's get into it. Police took a 41-year-old man in Nebraska into custody after he brandished a chainsaw toward a black woman on Saturday, according to police and news reports. Daniel Stueck is accused of chasing and moving a chainsaw up and down in a cutting motion while using racial slurs toward his neighbor at her apartment building in Lincoln, Nebraska on Saturday, the Kansas City Star reported, citing the Lincoln Police Department. The woman, 25-year-old Norma Nimox, told local news outlets that she saw Stueck with the chainsaw while walking up a flight of stairs. "I see a man with a chainsaw in his hand. He rips open the door," Nimox told KOLN TV. "I'm standing in the middle part of the stairs and he's sitting at the top of the stairs. Excuse my language, but it's about to get vulgar," he says. "Sup, N-word." Now, my biggest question here is this. You live in an apartment complex. What the hell are you doing with a chainsaw? That's a very odd object to have in your apartment. That's something I would expect, like if you maybe had a house or something like that, and you could have kept that in your garage, but you lived in an apartment complex. So I'm trying to figure out why is the better question. Why did you have it? But it said he was moving it in an up and down motion, which signals to me that it probably wasn't normal, but it was a threatening thing, as if he was going to cut her up. Nimox also told KOLN TV Stueck told her to get off my property. However, as Newsweek reported, Stueck does not own the apartment building, according to police. Now, doesn't this story remind you of the one I just did with that Jabba the Hutt looking chick in Georgia who pulled the gun on those two black boys riding their bikes, and she claimed that that was her property that they were on, but it came out that that wasn't her property. Fast forward now to this guy approaches this woman with a chainsaw, moves it up and down motion like he's going to do some serious bodily harm to her, and says to get off my property, but he doesn't even own the building. See what I mean? This is typical PC behavior, thinking that wherever they put their foot, their dirty hooves is whatever they own. No matter what. Step into your house, boom, it's theirs now. They sit in your car, it's their car. And I think I talked about this probably over a year ago. Wherever they feel that they put their foot at, they own, especially if you're there. Stueck told police people were stealing from him and that Nimox was guilty because she was black, according to KOLN TV's report. Oh, well, he has he has no shame in his game. He said he assumes it was her because she's black. It goes back to the stereotype that all black people steal, which is a very old stereotype, by the way. The Lincoln Journal-Star reported Stueck is being held at the Lancaster County Jail on terroristic threat charges with a hate crime enhancement. National Civil Rights Attorney, here we go, Ben Crump, said this nonsense needs to stop in a tweet on Tuesday. Ben, you don't want it to stop because if it stops, you don't get paid. But anyway, let's keep going. What kind of world do we live in that this is a real headline? Daniel Stueck chased Norma Nimox, a black woman, through the apartment building where she lived while he held a chainsaw and yelled racial slurs, all because she was #LivingWhileBlack, Crump wrote. The Lincoln Police Department did not immediately respond to insiders' request for comment. That's crazy. He literally chased her through that apartment complex like he was going to do a Leatherface to her. I know she was probably scared out of her mind, but this again, black people, why you need to arm yourselves. I don't care if you are scared to hold a gun. Get one. Or get a taser of some sort, some kind of a projectile. That way you can deal with these people, because at this point, if she was to have a firearm and she shot him, she could have claimed self-defense. Now, what would come after that, who knows? Because, you know, whenever black people whenever we claim self-defense, it never really ever gets taken seriously, or will be the ones that receive the the brunt force of it. Look at what happened with that couple down in Florida that I just recently did a story on, who was defending their house against the JSO, and they're still in jail right now, have been since September. But I think in this one, she would have been more than justified to defend herself if she had a gun and she shot him. Even if she didn't shoot to kill him, even if she just shot to disarm him or to keep him from chasing her, like shot him in the leg or something like that to disable him. But that's why I say black people really have to be armed. And let me tell you something else. To the black women out there that says they don't need a man for this, and you know the ones who's on that whole niggas ain't shit train. I don't want to hear none of y'all talking about protect black women when many of you don't even want it. And I hope that this woman wasn't one of those type of women that said that. Because if she was, and I'm just hypothetically saying she was, I bet she wishes she had walked back those statements. That's why I can't take when black women say that. I can't take them seriously. Because I doubt he would have did this if it was a man around her. They like to be real jumpy when it's just black women by themselves or black kids. Look at what happened with the situation down in Georgia with that woman who put the gun on those two boys. They were by themselves. There was no adult male around, and she felt justified to pull a gun on them. And remember what happened with that Karen who tried to go at those boys on that bike, and that black man came and he put her in her place, and noticed she kind of like backed down a little bit. Just a little bit, not a whole bunch, but just a little bit. See, it's something there when a black man makes his presence be known. That scares the hell out of them, because society for such a long time has painted black men as the boogeyman. So it has embedded into the minds of the masses, especially white America, that black men are just that. So they'll get scared every time they see one, especially if he fits the physical stereotype: big, muscular, maybe darker in tone, with a deep bass in his voice. That is their idea of a boogeyman, because that's what society has said what the boogeyman is. But yeah, that's what, like I said, black women, arm yourselves. That's the best advice I could give you. If this woman was armed, she could have pulled out that gun and popped one good time and just disabled him, called 911, and then they would have came and they would have dealt with it, and she wouldn't have had to worry about getting chased by this guy like he was just a freaking lunatic, which basically is what he is. And he went out inward hunting that day. He wasn't successful, thank God, but that's what he went out for that day. And he claims people were stealing from him. First off, how do we know people was even stealing from him? He could be lying. He could have used that as a cover up just to go after this woman. And he said out his mouth, he said because she was black. So he wanted to kill someone black that day, and she just happened to be there. I'm telling y'all better be prepared, because they're not playing. They are not playing. There's a statement that says we are at war. This is an example of that. One of several, by the way. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments, and I'll talk to you in the next one.